At the Real Estate Unite 2014 conference, the Financing Housing Roundtable had a forum where it engaged stakeholders on the viability, efficiency, and operations of the National Mortgage Refinance Corporation, which was chaired by Mr. A.W.I.R.E, chairman of the task force.
Where does NMRC come into play? Let's say you're buying a place in Lekki for 60 yen, for example. So you put in 10, the bank is lending you 50. The biggest problem that mortgage banks have in Nigeria, mortgage banks, not necessarily commercial banks, but they have the same problem, but to a lesser extent. The biggest problem they have is they don't have access to long-term money. Now, a mortgage is what? It's long-term, right? Am I right? Exactly. So, somebody that wants to give you a loan for 20 years, but does not have access to money that has any longer than 1 year, right? That has been the problem. That is why mortgages haven't existed. A major problem why they've not existed. Because there is no way I can borrow 60 million or 50 million I want to lend to you from her. And she says, pay me back in 1 year. I take the same 50 million, I now lend it to you, and say, you pay me back over 20 years. Today is what, the 3rd of October 2014. So on the 2nd of October 2015, she comes to me and says, okay, I'll bring my 50 million. I said, I go over you. The man never paid me. What happened? You know, we're the same child. That's his name. Okay? So where NMRC comes in is that when I borrow that money for 6 months or 1 year, and I lend it to you for 20 years, there's a document that says I borrowed money from you. So I'll take that document, I'll walk over to NMRC and say, I beg, every. So she will now give me a loan for what? 20 years to match this loan. So 20 years, 20 years, I'm not. Then I can now pay you off. You have the picture now. So as you are paying me, what am I doing? Thank you. You understand now why there is no personal contact? So the relationship, yes, please.
So why do I have to go to the picture and just
Okay, because this is a good question. Because NMRC is there to tap the bond market for long-term money. All right, and not the short-term area. What we're doing is actually to create a warehouse financing structure for the mortgage, especially the mortgage banks. Commercial banks have their deposits and stuff they can use to originate their mortgages on a daily basis. Commercial mortgage banks don't have it today. All right, so they need some short-term source of financing. You see, so I don't envisage them having a problem finding that because now they'll be able to refinance it through the NMRC.
Also, there was the Commercial Real Estate Forum, focusing on healthcare provision of the healthcare real estate infrastructure, considering the health opportunities in the country.
I saw yesterday, African Development Bank states that the fight against Ebola may lead to a loss of about 1.5% of the GDP of Sierra Leone. It's funny, I saw this yesterday and, but this morning I was listening to the BBC. Tourism is dead in Sierra Leone. It is dying in South Africa. They don't have a single case of Ebola. So we've got to think about it. But why? Funke alluded to it before. She said the truth of the matter is that you don't have where you can be cured, the disease will spread, okay? So, this is a story in the New York Times. The hospitals in the region simply aren't equipped. The hospitals in the region simply are not equipped. So, this is another interesting fact. This came out before Ebola. It says, rapid economic growth in Africa will expand the middle class and increase the demand for private health care. Here we go, guys. This is where you come in as investors, okay? And it is projected that healthcare delivery will be one of the top 5 most promising investment areas in Africa. So there is a case. There was a case before Ebola. It has been exacerbated by Ebola. Currently in Nigeria, the number of hospital beds per 1,000 is 0.53. So half a bed to 1,000 patients. So 2,000 people, 1 bed. Gabon and Ethiopia beat us today in this Africa alone. So let's not even look at the United States and the United Kingdom, 3 each. Gabon and Ethiopia have 6.3 beds per 1,000. We have 0.5, but we are the giant of Africa, 170 million people. So let's look at it. The Royal Marsden Hospital in the UK was founded in 1851, so that is one old building. Look at their reception. They upgrade. They move with the times. General Hospital, Lagos. Pretty much looks like this today. Probably even worse. Massey Children's Street Hospital. Again. Then we had the newer ones. Lagos Teaching Hospital. I grew up on that compound. I know what it was like. We all went there. Now, none of us want to go there. First Consultants Hospital in Lagos. This is when the private sector began to kick in. You had First Consultants, you had Echo Hospital, you've got the Reddington, but they cater for very small sector people. But look what's happening elsewhere. American Family Children's Hospital in the USA. Now that is a fine piece of real estate. And then people will go there, happy to do business, knowing that if there's a problem, they can be treated. So it helps with. Think about it. Why did the planes stop flying to places like Liberia and Co? It wasn't because people were afraid of catching Ebola necessarily. It was because they felt if I get a fever, which is malaria related, there's nobody will touch me. The hospitals can't cope with Ebola. I might die from malaria. I ain't going. That's what happened. Johns Hopkins University Hospital. The American Hospital in Dubai. Medicare in Dubai. But take a look at this. This is Abuja. Now I'm going to leave this up for you. And from here on out, I'm sorry, because I want to make sure I've got my facts, and you're just going to have to forgive me. I kind of got this very, very last minute. As you know, Ebola didn't kick in till recently, and therefore there was a need for a real estate forum like this to become topical. So I might refer a little bit to my notes, but I won't take very long. So, as I stated before, historically and globally, healthcare provision has been part of the real estate, it's participated in the delivery of a robust healthcare. So the real estate industry has been part of it. It needs to re-happen in Nigeria. It really does. What are the issues facing it? Financing, infrastructure, education, and red tapeism.
And also, for the first time in the history of the continent, the Africa Women in Real Estate launched its initiative designed to encourage female participation in the real estate business, which has been lacking in the country and in the region.
So I have this article, the title is Property Drives the Wealth of China's Richest Women. So they're talking about that real estate in China is the main source of wealth for China's wealthiest women. It's a sign that the sector remains one with huge growth potential. Total wealth attributed to real estate accounts for more than 60% of the combined net worth of the 15 wealthiest women in China. Which is, guess how much are we talking about? $30 billion. 15 women. Who can do the math? It's a lot of billions, isn't it? Anyhow you want to cut it, slice it, or share it. Is that money that we think we can all share amongst us here? Certainly for me. Okay. And guess what? Pyongyang, vice chairman of real estate developer Country Garden. They've called her vice chairman. She's a woman. We're going to take it back today and call her vice chairwoman. Right? She tops the list with a net worth of $6.3 billion. According to WealthX, a research firm that tracks the ultra-wealthy. She's followed by Yahun Wu, founder of property firm Longfor Group, with a net worth of $4.1 billion. Not million, ladies. Okay? And then you have Xinjiang, co-founder of Hong Kong listed Soho China. Most of us probably have heard of Soho China. It's Beijing's largest property developer with a net worth of $3.4 billion. The greenbacks. And last note on this particular article, the wealth creation in China is inextricably linked to, guess what? Real estate. Something is about to happen in Nigeria, and we want to be part of it, the women in real estate in Africa, not just in Nigeria.
With the viability of the NMRC and the concept of building a much broad-based commercial real estate that will cater for healthcare and the engagement of women in the real estate, the Nigerian real estate has the potential of becoming a pace setter for Africa. And with these three synergizing, there is great prospect for Africa's largest economy.